18 distinct styles, from molten cheese cores to butter-drenched buns. Each rewrote the rules of what a burger can be. Where did these originals come from? And why do their secrets still spark debate? Let's unravel the full story, one patty at a time. A beef patty, hot from the grill, lands on a sesame seed bun. Crisp lettuce, juicy tomato, raw onion, pickles, ketchup, and mustard stack up in a familiar order. This is the classic American hamburger, layered, balanced, and endlessly copied. Its roots trace back to New Haven, Connecticut, around 1900, where Louis Lasson served ground beef trimmings between slices of toast for hungry workers. The formula spread, but it was White Castle in 1921 that locked in a new standard. J. Walter Anderson's Wichita shop introduced the slider, a tiny square patty cooked atop a bed of onions, steamed under a soft bun. The result was juicy, fragrant, and cheap enough to buy by the sack. Stainless steel counters and spotless uniforms reassured customers nervous about meat safety, and soon, White Castle's 5-cent sliders were selling by the millions. Then came the pursuit of the perfect crust. At mid-century state fairs and diners, cooks started smashing loose balls of beef directly onto blazing griddles. The smash burger was born, thin double-stacked patties with a deep, caramelized crust and crispy edges, yet still juicy at the center. No onions fused into the meat, no steam, just pure Maillard reaction and sizzle. In just a few decades, the hamburger had split into distinct forms: the fresh produce stacked classic, the onion steamed slider, and the smash burger built for crust and crunch. Each style set a new reference point, opening the door for even wilder creations ahead. Oklahoma griddles in the 1920s were short on beef and long on onions. Cooks grabbed handfuls of sliced onions and pressed them straight into thin patties, letting the two fuse together on a scorching hot surface. The onions sizzled and sweetened, their steam keeping the meat juicy even as it crisped at the edges. This is the onion burger, born out of thrift and now a signature of small-town diners across the state. Elsewhere, the bread itself got an upgrade. Instead of a bun, diners in the 1940s started using thick, butter-griddled slices of rye. The patty melt layers a beef patty with Swiss cheese and a heap of caramelized onions, then sandwiches it between crispy rye. It is part burger, part grilled cheese, all crunch and gooey melt. A diner classic for those craving something richer than the standard stack. Then comes the Juicy Lucy, a Minneapolis invention from the 1950s that hides its secret inside. Here, two thin patties are sealed around a thick slice of cheese. As the burger cooks, the cheese melts into a molten core. Bite in, and hot cheese flows out. Both Matt's Bar and the 5-8 Club claim to be the original, fueling a rivalry that has lasted decades. Whether you spell it Juicy Lucy or Juicy Lucy, the surprise is always the same: a burger that oozes from the inside out. In the high desert of southern New Mexico, late summer brings the harvest of hatch green chiles, thick-skinned peppers grown in sandy soil along the Rio Grande. Local farmers recall seasons shaped by drought, when every pod counts. Roasted over open flames, these chiles give the green chile burger its signature kick: smoky, sometimes fiery, always unmistakably New Mexican. At roadside cafes from Socorro to Santa Fe, a beef patty is draped in melted cheese and a heap of chopped hatch, the heat level a matter of local pride. Even as water shortages threaten yields and raise prices, the burger remains a badge of the region's agricultural identity. North in Wisconsin, the butterburger leans into the state's dairy riches. Here, a hot griddled beef patty lands on a bun that has been lavishly brushed with butter, sometimes with an extra pat melting right on top. The result is rich, glossy, and deeply comforting, the flavor of America's dairyland in every bite. Local pride runs so deep that some diners source their butter from nearby creameries, and Culver's, a chain founded in Sauk City, has spread this tradition across the Midwest. On the West Coast, the pastrami burger tells another story of local abundance. In the 1960s in Los Angeles, Jewish delis began piling hot, peppery pastrami onto beef patties, then adding Swiss cheese, pickles, and mustard. The result is a salty, smoky fusion that reflects the city's layered food scene. One longtime deli owner remembers the first time a customer asked for pastrami on a burger. What started as a one-off became a staple, now found everywhere from late-night diners to drive-thrus. Each of these burgers is rooted in the flavors and fortunes of its home turf, shaped by the land and the people who work it. On the Big Island of Hawaii, a group of hungry teenagers walked into Lincoln Grill in 1949 and asked for something new, something cheap, and filling. The cook served up a hamburger patty on a mound of white rice, smothered it in brown gravy, and crowned it with a fried egg. They called it the loco moco, a name that stuck as the dish became a staple of Hawaiian plate lunches. Local historians point to the post-war years, when rice was plentiful and diners craved hearty comfort, making this burger a symbol of island ingenuity and multicultural roots. In Miami's Little Havana, the frita cubana tells a story of exile and adaptation. Cuban immigrants in the 1960s blended ground beef and chorizo, spiced it with paprika and garlic, then topped the patty with a heap of crunchy shoestring potatoes. Served on soft Cuban bread with ketchup and mustard, the frita was a taste of home reimagined for a new city. Vendors like El Mago de las Fritas became neighborhood legends, their recipes handed down through generations. Across the Pacific, Australian pubs took the burger and turned it into a riot of flavors. The Aussie Works burger stacks a beef patty with pickled beetroot, fried egg, pineapple, bacon, and barbecue sauce, sometimes all at once. Beetroot, a legacy of British colonial tastes, meets the tropical sweetness of pineapple and the richness of egg and bacon. By the 1980s, this loaded burger was a fixture at milk bars and footy matches, a messy, sweet, and savory icon of Australian casual dining. In the depths of the Great Depression, a nickel could still buy a meal in northeast Mississippi. The slug burger was born out of necessity, ground beef stretched with soy grits or cornmeal, shaped into thin patties, and dropped into hot oil until crisp. At Phillips Grocery in Corinth, hungry workers lined up for these deep-fried burgers, served on plain buns with pickles and mustard. The name came from the price, a 5-cent slug, the cheapest coin in the till. Scarcity demanded creativity, and the slug burger became a badge of survival, still celebrated at Corinth's annual festival. Across the country in the 1920s in Los Angeles, diners found comfort in the chili burger. At Tomaine Tommy's, a beef patty landed open face on a bun, then disappeared under a ladle of spicy chili con carne and a heap of raw onions. Fork and spoon required. For less than a quarter, customers got a filling meal that blurred the line between burger and stew, a Los Angeles invention that stuck around long after the first boomtown faded. By the early 1960s, thrift gave way to indulgence. At A&W drive-ins, founder Roy Allen pushed for a new topping, crispy bacon layered over a hot cheeseburger. Franchisees worried about cost, but the gamble paid off. The bacon cheeseburger was an instant hit, spreading nationwide in 1963 and setting the stage for a new era where burgers became as much about abundance as affordability. A bacon cheeseburger sandwiched between two glazed donuts pushes the idea of indulgence to its limit. The Luther Burger, named by legend after singer Luther Vandross, first appeared in Southern diners during the 1990s. There is no solid proof that Vandross invented it, but the story stuck, fueled by state fair menus and social media photos of sticky-fingered diners. Each bite is a sugar and salt shock, gooey, smoky, and unapologetically over the top. On the other side of the spectrum, Korean-American cooks started painting beef patties with gochujang, a fermented red chili paste that is sweet, spicy, and deeply savory. Topped with kimchi and crispy garlic, the Korean gochujang burger hit the US food truck scene in the early 2010s. It is a bold fusion. The tang of fermented cabbage, the heat of gochujang, and the crunch of fried garlic all packed into a single bun. But the real disruption came with the Impossible Burger. During the 2010s, scientists at Impossible Foods engineered a plant-based patty that sizzles, browns, and even bleeds thanks to soy-derived heme. The FDA cleared its key ingredient in 2019 after debates over safety and labeling. By the time it landed on fast food menus, plant-based burgers had gone mainstream, promising a future where the classic experience could be replicated, no cow required. Burgers now span continents, cultures, and diets, from plant-based patties to global spice blends. As tastes evolve and climate concerns grow, every new burger reflects who we are and what we value now. The next great burger is already on someone's grill. What would you stack on yours?